RPE is something that gets very confusing very fast for a number of lifters. You could be an experienced lifter who's utilized percentage-based training, or you could be a brand new lifter who's just trying to figure out how much weight to put on the bar. The reality of any loading strategy is we're just trying to match the level of difficulty on any given training day with the correct level of weight on the bar, right? So when you're just starting out, it often works really well to just add 5 pounds or 10 pounds from session to session based on the rep schemes you were using, right? Eventually, you can assess something like a 3 or a 5 or a single rep max and figure out essentially where you should start from a percentage of that max and continue to work off of. A lot of times people will essentially start their training program after a max out session, and they'll just start at like 65% for 5, and they'll do 70% for 5, and then they'll do 75% for 5, and then they just kind of wave load that up over time. In actuality, there is a rate of perceived exertion that correlates really well with percentages, and I'm going to show you that really quick. But really, it's just a reps in reserve and percentage-based system that allows us to make good training decisions over and over again. So RPE stands for rate of perceived exertion. It is a 0 through 10 scale when we're talking about lifting. And honestly, the simplest way in my mind to think about it is it's reps in reserve and percentages that ultimately help us make good decisions, right? So RPE 10 basically means this is a 10 out of 10 effort, meaning this is a really hard effort. And you can also take this out in terms of like reps, right? So one rep at RPE 10 is your max. It is the 100% for you. You can't do another rep, right? RPE 10 for 2 means that you could do no more than 2 reps, and that's approximately 95%. RPE 10 at for 3 reps is approximately 92%, right? And you could take that further. For the purpose of this video, we're not going to do that, right? But what I want you to think about is the fact that really all we're doing is just correlating a percentage based on our rating of perceived exertion and like what we do from a reps standpoint, right? So RP9, one rep at RP9 is 95%, right? So if you're doing like a test single, before your workout, and you can only do one more rep of a set, and that's 95%. You can use that percentage to then say, okay, I need to do 70% of what I'm capable of today for 3 sets of 3, right? RP8 for one rep correlates to about 92% on any given day. And knowing where you're at on any given day is really the utility of using rate of perceived exertion, right? RP7, 89%. RP6 for one rep is 86. RP5 for one rep is 83. The cool thing is as you get used to this, you can start to see that there's a pattern that emerges, especially as you kind of move down the scale. Basically, you're losing about 3% every time you go down the scale or to the right. So RP5 for 3 reps or for 2 reps becomes 80%, and then it's 77% for 3 reps, right? There's more to rating of perceived exertion than just thinking about it this way. You can use RPE proscriptively, meaning like I can prescribe my clients and athletes like, hey, I want you to do 3 sets of 3 at RP7. That would mean they're going to do 3 sets of 3 at RP7, which means essentially 3 reps in reserve. And that would be basically 83% for sets across. Like, it's not going to be perfect, but that allows us to correlate weight on the bar, percentage of our current max on any given day, and we're assessing how many reps in reserve you can do. So thinking of RPE this way has been a game changer for me and the athletes I work with, because it actually like helps us see real world data within reason of where we're at, while also making it make sense from a reps in reserve and weight on the bar standpoint. So I encourage you to use RPE in this way. Think about the percentages that your reps in reserve and RPE rating correlate with. There's a lot of good tools, and I'll link some of those below as far as helping you understand RPE. And then also there's a lot of charts like this in better forms. We'll talk more about RPE moving forward, but this is my first YouTube video of the year. I'm creating this channel to help Team Strength and Kindness learn more about training, and I'm also helping to help lifters understand, using the tools of the trade better, and also ultimately just managing pain, managing injury, and performing for a long period of time. So keep following the channel. Appreciate it. Peace.